regular
It's
what
stuff.
It's showtime!
Welcome to Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. I'm your host, Jamie G. Esquire the Fifth. You might also know me as the Butcher of Bonnaroo. I'm here with Magna Mills and the Soup Deucer to talk about what we've been watching recently and to discuss the 1987 awesome film, The Running Man, starring none other than Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm excited to talk anything Arnold. I was dying to do this movie. I'm really fired up here, man. Mills, did you actually win Stalker of the Year, or were you just runner-up again?
I actually thought I had it, and I really wish we had also done a podcast, anything Arnold, before I'd gotten into all this, because I got into this thing and I thought I was going to get out, but the judge thought otherwise. So then me, I called my so-called attorney, Mr. Jamie G. Esquire the Fifth himself, for some advice. And Jamie G, why don't you tell the audience what you told me?
It's time to start running!
It's time to start running.
Yep, it's time to start running. That's what he said. And thanks, man. It was a wonderful 2 years in Bangladesh, and I am Magna Mills. And here's some advice. If you have to go on the land for 2 years, you need to have something to do, and you don't want to do it in Bangladesh. And what you should do is probably have something to watch, something to listen to, maybe something like Regular Dudes Watch Stuff, maybe possibly. You can find us wherever you get your pods and on YouTube, on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff. And please, when you're going on the lam, you don't want to forget the money, you don't want to forget the booze, and you don't want to forget the flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. That's how other people find our show. They find our channel. We greatly appreciate it. If you had fun, give us a thumb. What's up with the Soup Deucer tonight, man? Are you a stalker or are you a guest runner?
I can consider myself a stalker in one of these fucking scenarios, man. I think I'd definitely be better at it, So we'll get into a little bit more detail on that later, but I'll be stalking people, drinking some PBRs, man, and I'm on your ass, dude. I'm on your ass, dude.
The PBR killer would be your serial killer name, so we've established that at least.
Before we go to see Killian, we got to fill up the holes in this house. Holes in this house. Holes in this house. What have you guys been filling your holes with since our last episode? Soup, you're up first here.
Well, it's been a hot minute, man, so I got a little time to fill a couple of holes, man. First and foremost, I want to say, man, that I have been filling my holes with this show called The Old Man. The show called The Old Man is fucking good, dude. And it's got Jeff Bridges, the dude, in there, man. Him and Lithgow, man, and not to mention the rest of the cast, are fucking stellar, dude. This is a good fucking show. It's a little bit slow moving, man, but when it fucking hits, it fucking hits, dude. It is hardcore. The Old Man is a good one. I'm 6 episodes deep, in the middle of the 6 episodes. I'm almost at the end. I think it only runs 7. There is, however, as far as I know, going to be another season coming up on this, and I'm definitely looking forward to it and seeing how this one ends, because it fucking took me by surprise, but it was a good one. Grabbed me right by the fucking short curlies and got my attention, dude. Shout out, dude, and I love that he's still fucking making some cool shit.
And Ali Shockwave from Arrested Development, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
that one.
And Search Party.
And Search Party. Shout out Search Party, too.
Who also plays a fucking great role. You're right, man. Yeah, maybe great in this fucking one, man. Yeah, good all around, man. Definitely give it a look if you got the time to do it. They're hour give or take episodes, a little bit on the longer side, but like I said, a little bit slow moving, but very fucking cool. When's the last time you guys saw fucking Short Circuit, dude? Johnny Five, Gutenberg Joy, man, from back in the day. Good fucking one to fucking don't disassemble, dude. So yeah, nice one to catch on a day off, a rainy day or something like that. Not feeling so good, laying in bed watching something. Yeah, fucking Short Circuit, dude.
And shout out Short Circuit too, featuring I believe Fisher Stevens, who is your boy Hugo from Succession. 2 degrees of Succession, right there, baby.
Oh, there you go. Way to link that together on the quick, dude. Right on.
Wow. That brings us to Mills, I think you're up next. Who you been filling your holes with?
Yeah, I did. I followed you up. I think you did this a bit ago, but I finally got through season 6 of Rick and Morty. I'd say it was at least like consistently good, like a higher floor than season 5, but it didn't quite hit the highs of season 5. Like I'd say there's probably 2, maybe 3 episodes in season 5 that are better than anything in season 6, but there's also probably like 3 episodes worse than anything in season 6 and season 5. So, maybe a little bit more consistent, just, without the sugar highs. We'll see how they do when they have to kind of rejigger things a little bit going into season 7 with the departure of Justin Roiland. I've also seen the first 3 episodes of season 5, the new season of What We Do in the Shadows, and they came out of the gate hot. I'm very excited, and I really think that they've now finally figured out how to like properly pace these season-long arcs, which is what they've struggled with. A lot of their best episodes are kind of been bottle episodes that don't deal with kind of the overarching plots as much. And I think this season they finally figured it out. I've also seen the first 2 episodes of the Justified limited series, City Primeval. Very, very good. Obviously, Timothy Olyphant is awesome. He's right up there in the Walton Goggins category of I will watch everything he's in at this point. He always just slays it, because it is a revival with only him, none of the other supporting characters from the previous series, at least at this point. I do miss them, but I think they did a good job. They just had to set up a lot of shit. And Boyd Holbrook is kind of the big bad here. He's been in a bunch of things. Most notably, he was kind of the big bad in the Logan movie, the final Wolverine movie, and I really enjoyed him in that. On the other hand, he was the lead in the Predator movie, the one with like Olivia Munn, before they kind of went back to the prequel with Prey, and I did not like him in that, but I think he was really good here. And finally, just shout out It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Season 16 finished on an absolute heater, and you should watch it and then hear about it on The Night Pod Cometh. Jamie G.
I second that emotion. Guys, for me, I'm still hammering out Banshee. I'm just about done with season 2. It's really growing on me. I thought season 1 was good. Season 2's another level. The story has so many kind of just side things that interact where it's like, wow, there's a lot of really good plot twists going on here, a lot of good storylines. They're all kind of coming together, and it's a pretty sick ass love story at its core. So really digging Banshee. That's been a lot of fun. I did start the new season of The Witcher. Only 1 or 2 episodes deep, but so far so good. Digging that. Really excited to finish that. As always, hitting up online poker and cooking videos. It's always fun to do in my pastime, but I gotta give a major shout out to filling my ear holes and eye holes with Fish Summer Tour. They've been absolutely shredding. Just show after show after show are just heaters after heater after heater. It's been fantastic. The light rig's outstanding, and they're just firing on all cylinders. So get out there and see them if you can, and go hit up that live Fish app and re-listen to these, because these things are killer. Next up is the hype train. Anybody super hyped for something that's coming up soon?
I have to say, I'm really excited for the upcoming season of Futurama. It's technically season 11. This is a show that has been kind of killed 3 times. Yeah, the early reviews are just like, it's good. It's just, more of what it is. They don't reinvent the wheel. I'm perfectly fine with that. By the time you watch this, it will have already dropped, but really looking forward to that. I rewatched the series a couple of months ago in anticipation of this coming out. Excited for it. What are y'all excited about? What you hype for?
Man, for me, I've got 2 things here. One, season 14, the final season of Archer. I think that's coming out in August, end of August. Really pumped about that. And then training camp for the NFL. We've got great shit coming up soon where there's going to be storyline stuff to talk about every day. I won't have to go to the ocean just to boo the Dolphins anymore. This will be fantastic. Excited about training camp.
Nice to hear that you're excited to watch the Jets on Hard Knocks, dude. Secret Jets fan, Jamie G. Soup Deucer, what do you hype for?
Cold.
Yeah, man, up until season, really, a lot of it's on the horizon, so I'm not really, grasping onto it too much yet. Yeah, I'm
That's
excited
what she said.
be and whatnot coming up and all that shit. But up until then, man, I'm really kind of focusing mostly right now that all the shows I'm interested in are kind of over or whatever. Yeah, Fish tour, man. Going back to Fish. The rest of this tour, I'm curious to see what they do. I'm checking them out on the couch tour and on the apps, being that I can't beat any more of the shows. But I was at a couple of the shows last week, and I would almost like to recap that just a little bit here and give a little bit of experience, man, from out there on the road. Sucks I don't really have a whole lot of footage because it's hard to obtain that kind of shit while you're in the midst of it. But I mean, it was fucking awesome, dude. It's fish. I mean, there's not really a better show you can see if that's your thing, you know. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him in a long time. I've seen him a lot, and then I hadn't seen him for like a good amount of time, a decade plus or whatever. So it's really nice to get back on back into that vibe and get back into that scene and everything else, man. And to be at the show, dude, and they didn't disappoint. You know, the first night it wasn't like one of the better shows or whatever. It was a good, solid show, but it wasn't a fucking heater. Night two was a fucking heater, man. The situation that happened there to fill us all in is we got through a fucking sick ass fucking first set, dude, and they really fucking were just they were on fire, dude, and like everybody was on one, all four of them were just firing on all cylinders and shit. They were good to fucking go, dude, and they were showing it, man. They were whipping it out for Wilmington that night, man. And then it started to rain during the set break a bit, like kind of heavy or whatever. And like, whatever with the rain, nobody really cares, man. You get wet and the rain shows. Rain show can be a thing sometimes, man. But so that went up. They come back on for set two and shit, and and it starts pouring, and they come out fucking swinging, dude. Like opened up with the fucking zinger of a tune and everything else, man. Got you right in, grabbed you right fucking quick, got you right into it, man. Set two is fucking happening, dude. 3 songs in, and at this point, it's the rain's coming back again already, and now it's starting to rain pretty fucking hard. So by the end of like that third song, going into the fourth song, the rain was so heavy, and then the lightning started happening, man. It was lightning, and the band didn't want to leave. The lightning was fucking striking everywhere. The rain was coming down hard. They made them fucking stop. They didn't want to stop. They made them fucking stop. So we got shorted out about an hour, give or take, of show. And the final run of the show, or the tail end of the show, which is a real fucking huge letdown when you're just fucking in it and everything. So it turned out to be an experience, but in some regards great, yeah, but that happened too. So I mean that kind of sucks, but what are you gonna do? This is another reason why I hate fucking weather. I fucking hate weather, man. But all this being said, dude, I do have a fish list for you, man. A fish list for you. So if you can fucking figure out the difference between the real fish list and the fake fish list, I'll give you one of my sponges, man.
What the hell? I have a 50-50 chance, right? So we each have 4 sponges now. At the end, someone will have 5, someone will have 3. It's not quite a Highlander.
It's a little early.
I can live with that, dude. You gotta make moves, dude. I'm trying to max out here. I obviously have to give a sponge to this probably, so I need to invest in sponges, dude. It's not like the orange crop. This isn't trading places.
Yeah, no doubt, man. All right, well, if you're down for this, man, let's say we start out set 1 here. We're gonna start out set 1 here. They're gonna come in with a fucking nice cars, trucks, buses, man. Nice instrumental to ease you in, man. Cruise into a camel walk, man. Funky camel walk, man. Bring that bitch right into a funky bitch. Step it up a little bit, get a little funky bitch in there. And then fucking level it out with some Mexican cousin, man. Because tequila's where it starts and where it ends, man. Little Mexican cousin, dude. We do dinner and a movie, man. Mexican cousin right into dinner and a movie, man. Followed by ass handed, because every once in a while you get your ass handed to you. So ass handed comes next, man. We're gonna fucking wrap that up and cruise into a little bit of rock and roll, man. Velvet Underground cover, rock and roll, man. That's gonna go right into it. Julius is gonna go right into the squirming coil to finish out the set, dude. Finish it out with a coil. Now, go to set 2. Set 2 is gonna start out with Floyd the Chimpanzee. We're gonna bring it in hard here, man, with a solid Floyd Chimpanzee, man. Because in the cool shade of a banana tree, you never know, man. So we start out there. That's gonna fucking cruise right into Subtle Sounds. Subtle Sounds is a shorter, fucking sweeter one, man. Not a full length, guys. It's a shorter, sweeter one, but it gets you ready for the next one that they go into gradually and melodically with a Velvet Sky, man. Velvet Sky is going to carry on for about fucking 18 to 20 minutes here, man. And it's going to build. It's going to build the set into a transition into Mercy on Mars, man. Once you get into Mercy on Mars, the Swalker is going to start really hopping, dude. Because that's a song that fucking gives you a lot of fucking harmonics and shit at the beginning. And it has layers, man. And once it layers up into the fucking end, it's a fucking zinger, dude. Now you're boogieing hard. You're boogieing hard, so hard it's gonna cruise right into a blimp lot. And if you get a blimp lot, dude, you're straight boogieing the whole fucking time, man. After blimp lot, it's gonna cruise right into fucking drifting dreams. Drifting to dreams, a nice right in the middle guy, kind of letting you know that you're off to the end of the fucking thing. But as it fucking cruises out, man, fades right into magnet. You fade into magnet, dude, you're looking at least fucking 15-minute fucking rager, dude. And that's how they're gonna end that set, dude. Second set ends with that magnet. And then encore comes in. Encore comes in with a cross-eyed. Boom, they do cross-eyed. An encore. And then they're gonna cap it all off with a fucking cover, because you know they love busting out the covers. And they're gonna cover Helter Skelter. And that's the end of the set, too.
All right, dude. I really appreciate the effort, but the problem is that I understood the reference. Like Floyd the Chimpanzee, that's from Fee. I know that is. And I'm assuming Velvet Sky is supposed to be Waiting in the Velvet Sea. I know both of those. One because of you, one not because. So number 2 is fake. Number 1 is real. And I now have 5 sponges, and you have 3 sponges.
Guys, we're going to really start running here. Even though we discussed Last Action Hero starring Arnold Schwarzenegger last time, Magnum Mills doubled down pretty hard on Arnold with The Running Man. We've established that we're all pretty big Arnold Schwarzenegger fans, especially the stuff from the 80s and 90s. So it's not a huge surprise that we decided to check this one out. I mean, it's The Running Man, dude. I mean, if that's not dangling a carrot, I don't know what is. Mills, even though it was a repitch week, you had other Arnold options. Why is it that you decided to go with Running Man? Did you just know that I couldn't say no to it?
Yeah, because I had a feeling you would probably be lukewarm on Commando. And honestly, I do think this is probably one of the better written Arnold movies, you know, obviously having, you know, it based on source material from Stephen King. And I think some of the technology and the look a little bit may have aged poorly, but the kind of political and cultural commentaries, I think, really have become like even more on the money as time has gone on, as we sit here, like, you know, over 35 years since it was filmed. I think this is one of those joints we're talking about with Last Action Hero, where it's got basically the right mix of action and comedy. You know, I think this is one of the first Arnold movies to be a bit self-aware. And in fact, they do bring a couple lines in that they changed after the original filming to do, like, you know, I'll be back once it became a catchphrase, that kind of thing. You know, I think that they kind of sprinkle the one-liners and the puns in there. They do it at the right times. They don't overdo it. And I think the supporting cast really stands out, especially Richard Dawson as Killian. I think he, you know, kills it.
It's time to start running!
This is The Running Man, directed by Paul Michael Glaser, screenplay by Stephen E. D'Souza, based on The Running Man by Stephen King, written as Richard Bachman, his pen name, produced by George Linder and Tim Zinman. Cinematographer was Thomas Del Ruth, edited by John Wright, Mark Warner, and Edward A. Warshoka. Music by Harold Feltermeyer. Release date, November 13th, 1987. Had a budget of $27 million, and it made $38.1 million at the United States box office. It has a running time of 101 minutes, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Maria Conchita Alonso, Richard Dawson, Yaphet Kotto, Martin J. McIntyre, and Jesse Ventura. The short plot synopsis is: in a dystopian America, a falsely convicted policeman gets a shot at freedom when he must forcibly participate in a TV game show where convicts who are runners must battle killers for their freedom.
You know, I'll tell you what, right now, man, we're going to be talking about everything and anything involving the fucking Running Man. Various Arnold movies, probably, and possibly anything Bachman or Stephen King. So you've been warned, man. This is your fucking spoiler alert. Carry on.
Well, this is a flick that we've all seen a bunch of times, so we obviously enjoy it a lot. But let me ask you this. Does The Running Man hit differently now than it did, say, 10, 20, or even 30, 35 years ago when it came out?
Yeah, you know, that's the soup brings up the old man. Now you're trying to, like, say 30 years ago. Like, what are you implying here, dude? No one's old here, man. I've been 25 since I was 15, as far as I'm concerned. And seriously, I was probably like, I don't know, 12, 13, first time I saw this. And I think I like the action, and the one-liners were kind of what got me. you know, it was Arnold, like he was just so charming and everything. I loved all that. Like remember him just like because I said please when he lifts the joint or whatever. He's just so cool, right? Arnold was just so cool. It looked cool. And then I kind of, you know, did the sports thing and, you know, chasing girls in college. You hadn't really seen Running Man. Watch it again. And I think I had more of an appreciation about how the movie was written. And especially I loved Richard Dawson as Damon Killian, because at some point I, you know, watched old Family Feud episodes between then and that point. And then when I watch it now, like again, you said, man, 30 years or so after I first watched it, I really think some of the commentary is like really very prescient. It's right on point. And the score is also awesome. In some of the performances, I really didn't appreciate, especially the Stalkers. And, you know, shout out Jesse Ventura as Captain Freedom. Dude goes for it in a leotard or whatever it is when he does the workout. I should have given more props to Jesse Ventura as an actor, dude. That's actually just awesome, I think. Jamie G, how about yourself, man? How does the Running Man kind of hit differently now as opposed to, you know, when you saw it when you were one of the two youths?
Yeah, man. When I was a little guy when it came out and saw it, I remember really liking it just from pure action and the concept, right? The concept was so cool. Imagine if that was capital punishment, basically, right? And so I really enjoyed that. And I thought that it was put together really cool. It was kind of futuristic for the time. I know looking back now, you're like, yeah, that doesn't look like good technology, but in the late 80s, it was. And so I think that was pretty cool. Now when I watch it though, it is way better than it was then. And we'll talk about this more, but this is a movie that I think absolutely needs a reboot with modern technology. This could be so good. And just the way the world is now in terms of control and what the media, you know, the storylines and all this different stuff, right? That gets out there for what you want, you know, what people want you to hear and see. So I thought this was really cool. I really like it. And I enjoy it more now than I did when it first came out.
Yeah, dude, I gotta totally say, man, this movie, I loved it when I was younger, man, and you know, giving it a rewatch after a while, and I'd seen it probably, I wouldn't say like a decade ago, but like a few years ago, whatever, right when it popped up or whatever. So I checked it out, you know. So it hasn't been that long since I had seen the motherfucker, but on the rewatch, it was cool, man. But it'll always be nostalgic for me. It's one of those movies I really like as a little soup, you know, a little cup of soup. And you know, I mean, it's a Stephen King, Richard Bachman story, which I mean, any of his shit is always fucking awesome. Lots to talk about here, man, and let's get into it.
Definitely, man. Well, it was a bit of a transitional film for Arnold. He was coming off Commando, Raw Deal, and Predator, where in those movies he played very similar characters. But after this, after Running Man, his next four films are Red Heat, Twins, Total Recall, and then Kindergarten Cop. So Running Man was really the beginning of Arnold embracing comedy and more complex roles, and I also think more speaking in those roles. Do you think that The Running Man does a good job of balancing the comedy and the action? The humor here is a bit different than, you know, say Last Action Hero, right? I mean, it's you kind of gotta pick up on it a little bit more.
I think it's enough, and I think it's like a development of just like the Arnold humor. Really, there's not much other humor other than the Arnold humor.
Richard Dawson gets some lines, 100% as Killian. Like the Gilligan's Island.
So
Richard
does Amber
Dawson
Mendez.
definitely gets his birds, yeah. And
Mendez gets a couple too. She gets kind of some hysterical type stuff with her too, just kind of playing that character. But
I mean, Jesse Ventura again, Captain Freedom is hysterical the whole movie, I think. Especially the aerobic thing and the idea, like again, good commentary. Him trying to do the sports commentator thing, which Steph's trying to talk about. Well, I remember this time, and Killian's like, no, let's come back to like the flashy shit, which is exactly how most sports pregame shows have become now. They don't want actually like really in-depth analysis. They just want some cursory surface level shit so they can kick it back to the cheerleaders or the fans or whatever. As far as the balance goes, you do have to appreciate, right? Because it's probably the Stephen King of it all. Think of another Arnold movie where it doesn't really end with like a big showdown or a big climactic fight. Like the fight with Captain Freedom is fake. And then they basically just go in and shoot some people and he shoots Killian off after the dude, you know, like the Killian's body man's basically like, nah, you gave me shit all movie, man. Talking about steroids and all this bullshit. Like, I'm good. You go for it, Killian. You defend yourself. There's no fight. Arnold just like shoots him out the joint and it's over. That's different for an Arnold movie, right? And I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It made the only in a rerun, the I'll Be Back, it really tied it all back around, which, you know, definitely worked for it because, again, it's another movie that, despite it being based on the Stephen King story, you know, had a bit of a chop job as far as different scripts being jammed together.
The opening section of the movie sets up Ben Richards as the falsely accused butcher of Bakersfield. We got to look at the version of what the future looks like, which is not too good, unless you're a bookie, apparently, then, you know, business is booming. We also meet various members of the resistance, and they set up the plot about the satellite uplink. Did this opening section do a good job of kind of setting up some of the key pillars of this movie, or did they need more here?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a dystopian future. You don't love like the long opening, you know, title narration where they just like scrolling across the screen. Here's what's going on. I think Terminator did that a little bit. It's a little bit of an 80s trope. But honestly, I remember loving the prison sequence when I was a kid when I first saw this. And like they're trying to get the code and they're punching it in. You see the dude run and his head explodes and everything. I think that did a good job of letting you know kind of what movie you were in for. And you'd have the opening scene to show you how badass Arnold is. He's carrying like that, like a steel beam on his shoulder, right? It almost exactly mirrors a shot from Commando, but it just shows you like, oh shit, like dude, Ben Richards is real. And then we also saw the real thing in the helicopter where like, oh, not only is he, you know, super huge and awesome, he's like really a good dude or whatever. So I thought it was a good setup. And you know, I'd never seen like heads get blown off of collars before. That was new at the time.
It was groundbreaking back in the day, you know.
Yeah, dude, how about I feel like it would be one of your boys, Soup, the dude who takes the collar off Arnold at the end, off Ben Richards, dude, Mick Fleetwood, who they never say it explicitly, but he talks about them getting rid of his songs. He's named Mick. It's spelled differently, but you know, the real theory is like that's actually Mick Fleetwood playing himself. Do you like that?
I love that, and I don't know that I've been able to like, you know, totally prove that, but I love it, dude. And I also love that Weasel Zappa is in there, man. You know?
Yeah, that's like his henchman, basically, like his you know, number two or what have you.
Yeah, number two,
Or
I
number
mean,
one, yeah, whatever way it works.
but yeah, fucking Weasel, dude. You know, and there's the Weasel Zappa in the fucking movie, man. I don't know where else he's ever been, man, as far as an actor with you know, credits for movies or shows or whatever. Don't see him a whole lot though, I do know that much. But in this one, man, and solid role, man. Not a whole lot of fucking words, but a fucking character in it. And there was a reference to I think the name of his character's name was Stevie, so a direct reference to maybe a Stevie Nicks situation there.
Yeah, like it a lot. Good call on that, man.
And one just one random thing I just want to say, it's an insult I don't really ever remember hearing when Arnold's kind of like angry talking about what they are, and he says, all I see are a bunch of low foreheads. I guess that's supposed to be like a Cro-Magnon like caveman reference or something. I never, have you ever heard someone call someone a low forehead before?
No, man, I'd have to get on.
I feel like
Urban
we can work that
Dictionary
in there, right? Like that. I feel
Yeah.
like that's a decent one.
Yeah. Let's yeah, I'm down, man. Let's actually
Bunch of
research.
low foreheads, dude.
Bunch of low
Yeah.
foreheads. Yeah, we'll see if we can work that in. It's bring it back a little bit. It's a new
Bring it back. Research it a little bit. Make sure it's okay. But yeah, bring it back,
new
man.
insult.
Right
Yeah,
before
it's a
we
new-
move on, which future would you rather live in? Demolition Man, Escape from New York, The Running Man.
Demolition Man. You just have more stuff.
Fuck that. Escape from New York, I think, has a little more freedom, dude, as long as you're not in trouble.
I'm gonna go with Soup. I'm gonna go Escape from New York because at least we know it's still around in Escape from LA. But then after that, no electricity, which is kind of crucial. I like electricity a lot.
Don't we all? Guys, next, Richards finds Amber Mendez living in his brother's apartment. He tries to use her to escape to Hawaii, but she rats him out at the airport and he's captured. He's brought to ICS where we're introduced to Damon Killian and the Running Man. Well, game show, I guess you'd call it. What stood out to you guys in the pregame setup here? What did we get? What'd you like? I mean, did you get a little Twins vibe with Arnold in the Hawaiian polka, you know, the shirt going to the airport? Didn't that just feel very Twinsy, even though Twins hadn't come out yet?
I'd see this is part of the comedy I loved. There were like 3 shirt gags, they all worked. Like when she's like
I'm warning you, I get sick. Air sick, car sick. I'm gonna throw up all over you.
Go ahead. Won't you on this shirt?
Later in the movie, she's like, "I'll be in my big mouth."
We should have taken the trip to Hawaii.
I had the shirt for it, but you fucked it up.
I just love that bit. Like, everything is great here. All the shit on the TV. How about climbing for dollars? Where we see people, remember, like climbing the rope in gym class. It's like that, but there's money in Dobermans, I think they were Dobermans, but
I mean, I like that, dude. I like these weird little fucking games like that, man, which are definitely cool. Instead, everything went to like, Survivor and Naked and Afraid and all that kind of shit. But yeah, why not do little fucking climb the rope and have fucking Dobermans nipping at your fucking heels, dude? Or let's do snakes on a plane or something, like whatever the fuck, man.
That's good soup.
Yeah, dude, tell me what could be more entertaining than Jesse Ventura doing all this flexing shit in his like superhero leotard joint.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready for Captain Freedom's workout.
Yes, it's America's own.
And he takes it so with the mustache, it's so like homoerotic and just perfect. And it's like a guy like he's like, all right, he's a retired athlete, right? He's like, I'm gonna approach my new career the same way I approach my sport, right? Like he goes hard at it. And
He went hard, dude. He went hard.
I loved every part of that, dude.
It was classic, and it was obviously, staged, and it was made to be that way, which was what made it fucking funny as fuck the way it was. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm still, my head's still in this whole fucking, like, maybe it was Ninja Warrior, but instead they had, like, crocodiles in the fucking moat or whatever, like, make the shit real deal, fucking hardcore.
I feel like I've seen that. Was that in Stay Tuned or something, like where someone had to run over crocodiles or something? I feel like that's been in a previous flick or something like that. One thing, you know what would fucking drive me crazy? The worst part about this future, when Ben Richards goes to get into the apartment, usually there's a keypad, and it's a 1 through 9 or whatever. He's 1 0, 1 0 9. The keypad has 10, 11, and 12 on it. I just wish they had done, obviously the combination to the apartment should have been 1 2 3 4 5, because that's the combination I use for my luggage.
Right, I have the same combination on my luggage, man.
That's what I'm saying. And we have to just shout out Richard Dawson as David Killian. He's like a rock star, right? You see him come in a limo, and people they like the stalkers, but they fucking love Killian.
The car, the pinky ring, his whole vibe is
dude, when he's like the janitor, when he walks in.
Yeah. Whoa! Oh, sorry.
Hey, that's all right. What's your name?
Dan.
Dan, you're doing good work. Looks beautiful. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Brenda, if that asshole is mopping the floor tomorrow, you'll be mopping it for the rest of the week. Let's go.
It's such a good job of setting up who he is. Just immediately.
Yeah.
In the first 90 seconds you meet him, you know exactly who he is. And it's an interesting villain for Arnold, right? Because he's not a big dude. He can never fight him. He's got this one security guard, his body man. He just keeps fucking with him the whole movie. It's good writing, I really think, especially for an Arnold movie. And not that Arnold movies are poorly written, but there's more depth here. Again, probably comes back to the Stephen King thing. But Richard Dawson, I don't think he did another movie after this. So this was a big one for him. He was in, was it Hogan's Heroes or something like that before the feud? So he didn't do a lot of acting post-feud. So if this was his kind of, final big role, I thought he absolutely slayed it.
Yeah, and the only other thing I'll say here is obviously he steals the show, but we do get to meet Amber Mendez. A little annoying at first, a little kind of like they were trying too hard to go with this like stereotypical Latina type thing. But I think it's kind of cool with her is her character. You don't know it at the time, but it ends up being a really important character. And she really grew on me as the movie went on. And so I thought that was pretty cool. You don't really love her to begin with, but then as the movie goes on, you're like, oh man, you're rooting for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, she comes on being the annoying fucking whatever the fuck. Like, obviously she thinks she's being kidnapped. She's loud, she's annoying, whatever. I can get over that. But then she rats him out too, so you automatically don't like this person going with that. But then once it falls into play where she's more involved, then now she's a character that you can kind of have a heart for,
I just want to point out, Jamie G, that I thought court-appointed theatrical agent was something you made up until I saw this movie. So my bad, dude. I really thought you were bullshitting me on that. And Jamie G, if I told you you're the asshole on TV, you'd probably tell me that you were going to say the same thing about me, right?
Would.
Fuck you.
Before we discuss the stalkers in this movie, guys, I want everybody to tell the audience here, those tuning in to Regular Dudes Watch Stuff, what do you think your stalker name and your theme would be if you were a stalker on The Running Man? I'll participate in this too. Magna Mills, you're up first. Give me your stalker name and your theme.
For me, I think, just because it's Magna Mills, it would have to be something probably with like a big old Magnum, some Magnum condoms, and a windmill. I'm not sure how you put those things together. Maybe like, you put them in the big body condom and then you put them on the windmill, you spin them around or whatever. Maybe you could be the millman, the Magnum Mills, the Master Magnum, the Master Mills. A lot of ways to go with that one. Just for bonus, Jamie G, if I was going to do something for you, I think you would be Dr. Slice. I know you're usually a lawyer, but you like to pretend you're a doctor. So I think maybe I'm thinking like you were a world-class surgeon and you like lost your shit. So you murder a bunch of people in a pizzeria. So then like you get committed, you get put on The Running Man. You got like a bone saw and a meat cleaver. You're rocking like a stethoscope, a chef's apron. It's covered in red. You can't tell if it's like blood or tomato sauce or whatever, but doesn't really matter. And Soup, I think you would be the Bushmaster. Obviously, you'd be sponsored by Bush. You'd kind of be like Duffman from The Simpsons, but like deadly. Like you could strangle people with your six-pack rings. You could crush people with your mighty keg toss. And like when you kill people or finish them off or whatever, you like to pickle their bodies in like a giant vat of just Bush beer.
I love that. I love Big Bush. Fuck yeah, man.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, for me, don't get me wrong, Dr. Slice would be amazing. I'm all over that. But I actually was going to go with Evil Esquire. Basically, he cites laws and does lawyer talk as he kills you in the same way as the clients he defended murdered their victims.
Ooh, that's ironic, too. I like that. I think that's irony, not satire. I'm pretty sure.
What is satire again?
We talked about this, right?
Soup?
Dude, man, I think my fucking stalker name, I would go for this character. I would be Hot Soup. Okay, man, Hot Soup. But Hot Soup is fucking dangerous. What I would do, man, is I would add all kinds of different variations of hot fucking liquids and whatnot that will burn your ass. You don't want to get fucked up with 350-degree fryer oil or any fucking boiling liquid, man. That shit'll fuck you up, dude. Catch that to a fucking eyeball or anywhere on your fucking dick and balls, wherever the fuck. Hot soup, dude. Hot soup will fuck you up, man. I'm carrying lots of hot soup around me.
Maybe not the best name. I mean, Hot Soup is simple, but the tagline, he'll burn your ass, is the best tagline. I'll give you that.
It really is. It really is. Wow, a lot you could do there. Guys, that was fun. The first stalker the guys face off against is Sub-Zero. This confrontation leads to the infamous Plane Zero line from Arnold. Thoughts on this one? I mean, this was he made an appearance in Last Action Hero, the same actor. I thought this was fun. Mortal Kombat wasn't a thing yet, so just for everyone out there, like this predates Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero. So yeah, they did it first.
So you're saying he's the original Sub-Zero?
He's the OG Sub-Zero. Yes.
Yeah, dude who played him was like originally like a wrestler dude. I believe like his name was Professor Toru Tanaka, which is in itself like a cool name. And as you pointed out, he was like about an henchman in Last Action Hero. And one of my buddies just loved that line. Like when Rich is like,
Hey, Killian! Here is Sub-Zero! Now, Plane Zero!
and again, early great pun. One of the better puns in the movie when he strangles Sub-Zero with the barbed wire. And then he's like, talking about, he's like, yeah, he was a real pain in the neck.
The lines and the one-liners, that really set the tone, man, where it's like you start to get them. They start to heat up a little bit.
Yeah, and they did a good job of setting up what a lot of shows are now. It's a lot of pomp and circumstance, but with like little meat, right? Like it's all dancing and talking to the audience and everything. Like an NFL game, clock runs for 60 minutes. There's like 14 and a half minutes of action in a game. And you see that here, there's all the dancers and the pomp and circumstance and all of the dancers, that big dance number, that was actually choreographed by Paula Abdul.
Wow.
This is like way back when she was like one of the Laker girls or doing the dance choreography for them. So that was pretty cool, like the big stage show and everything, right? Like I like that, they went big with it. I think they do that same kind of thing on, I don't watch reality shows, but I think they go for that thing, like over the top kind of.
Yeah, see, dude, I like the concept of it. I don't like the world they're living in, and it almost contradicts like the whole censorship issue. It's almost like, well, we can do whatever we want, but you guys can all fuck off and shit.
I'm really curious about how a bunch of bookies got the absolute best pieces of real estate in the entire city.
Yeah.
They have this giant area for their betting board. I mean, I'm assuming ICS just owns a piece of it.
Taking a scrape.
No way that would happen. It would all be online. There wouldn't be some dude up there like there wouldn't be cash exchanges happening in front of crowds of people. You know what I mean? I wouldn't think anyway. It would probably be more of an online thing at this point.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that doesn't hold up as well. I think the social commentary, everything else holds up great, but the technological stuff, like I don't think they tried that hard, really.
Well, but you could make a point where we didn't have that technology because we didn't have the same economy that fostered the ability to have access to all that technology. So you could kind of make the case that maybe that's we went back to a more prehistoric way of taking bets. I mean, I don't know. I think you make that case, but
dude, I'd rather have that. I'd feel better about that, honestly.
Yeah, well, let's be fucking honest. Like we were jumping ahead of touch, but when they put Richards on the board at 100-1, they're smoked. That's one of the worst odds-making jobs in history. After the performance they've seen, how do you put Richards up at 100-1? That's just it's terrible bookmaking. That's all I'm going to say.
After they kill Sub-Zero and take him out on the ice, Killian isn't messing around here. He sends both Buzzsaw and Dynamo after the guys who have been joined by Amber after she got caught stealing the unedited footage of the Bakersfield massacre. What do we think about this, man? Was it kind of too much? Should he have sent just one at a time? Or did you like the fact that he really ramped up because they were so shocked that one of the stalkers got killed?
I think that's the case, dude. I mean, I don't think stalkers have gotten killed much ever before this. So they're like, what do we do,
I know a stalker died. Well, it had to happen sooner or later. Yeah, well, it is a contact sport, right?
Hard solutions call for hard asses, which also could have been an alternate title for Captain Freedom's aerobic workout joint.
Totally.
I mean, obviously, I think I like Buzzsaw better. I mean, who do you prefer so far of the stalkers? You got Buzzsaw, you got Dynamo, you got Sub-Zero. I don't think we gave him enough credit in that he was a really weird villain, and that it was a hockey-based villain. You know what I mean? Like he had to be on ice to be effective. It's like Flipper, right? Like Flipper's great as long as you can be in water. So I mean, Buzzsaw was probably the most mobile, but Dynamo was the most interesting, maybe. I mean, what do you kind of think so far as as far as the stalkers and the fights for between them?
Come to me, my love. Yeah, Dynamo. Dynamo was definitely not my favorite, man, but I did like what he did there, dude. I did like what he did there. But he's hard to predict. It's hard to fight something like with the electricity like that, unless you have a fucking way. If you have a way to turn that off, then he's fucking helpless. As far as Buzzsaw goes, I think he's the most that's probably the dude I would want to fight the least if I had to just hand-to-hand fight one of them. Sub-Zero, definitely very cool, but you're right, limited to the ice, man. But a very cool fucking thing. You're in my world, I got you kind of shit, man.
He did shoot a dude one of the boys into the hockey net, and then he celebrates a little bit. That was pretty cool, but he's a very impractical villain. He's probably the most impractical of the villains.
Yeah, and I think that's
followed by Dynamo, who should have been more effective considering he can shoot electricity.
I think Buzzsaw was the most well-rounded. Could probably he'd be the one I'd want to fuck with the least, man.
He was the scariest.
Right. Yeah, he seemed by far the scariest and the most serious. I think I'll co-sign that 100%.
But Dynamo's shtick was kind of cool with the opera singing and the whole all lit up like that and could shoot electricity. I thought he was cool. I think they could have used him a little bit better, but I thought he was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, great one-liners here. Obviously, Richard's calling Dynamo Christmas Tree is really
Hey,
fun.
Lighthead.
And then
Lighthead's good too.
He gets a couple versus Buzzsaw, where Buzzsaw's like,
Saw's part of me, and I'm gonna make it part of you. That's all right. Keep it
yeah. And then Amber's like, what happened to Buzzsaw? And,
He had the split.
Yeah.
So that's pretty top tier, like Arnold one-liners, right? That's pretty solid.
It's way up there, man.
Way up there, dude.
Hey, shout out William Laughlin. He doesn't get a lot of great lines, but his dying words are,
"Don't let us down. I don't want to be the only asshole in heaven."
I feel you, Laughlin. I don't want to be the only asshole in heaven either. Or, wherever. Just really, it's more fun if your assholes are together.
So says the human centipede, but
yeah, I mean, honestly, can you really beat when Amber says, they think I'm your girlfriend? And Richard says, I can straighten that out. See that camera up there? I'll strangle you in front of the whole audience.
Yeah.
I like that they put her in there. I think it needed something more than just he was trying to save his friends. I think it was having her there, knowing that she risked it to learn the truth about him. I thought that was a cool twist with her character and made her character way more interesting and way better for the movie.
Yeah, it was a little obvious. I mean, how often should you keep your secret footage in a drawer that says Bakersfield Massacre unedited footage? Someone took the time to actually type up the file marker or whatever. That's pretty wild. There's just so many fun joints in here. I love the old lady when she picked Richards. We were talking about with the gambling guys putting them on the board. When she picks Ben Richards.
Ben Richards.
Hold it. Agnes. Richards is a runner. You gotta pick a stalker.
I can pick anyone I choose. And I choose Ben Richards. That boy's one mean motherfucker.
And never forget Gilligan's Island.
Da, 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 da. Yeah, the one with the boat.
You're not going to get that with reruns of Gilligan's Island, man.
And just for fun, like if you actually look in his office, there's a poster for Hate Boat, which I'm assuming is a parody of Love Boat. And I believe Richard Dawson guessed it on Love Boat at some point.
That's just too good, man. Well, at this point, we're roughly halfway through here. We're at the halfway point. So I think it's a good time to talk about the music of Running Man with a little Soup on soundtracks. Soup, this wasn't a soundtrack with a bunch of contemporary tracks, but tell us what we're working with here, man.
Honestly, dude, this didn't have a lot of zingers on it, man. This was an 80s fucking instrumental fucking movie, man, which I love that kind of thing, dude. I could take the instrumentals from these movies and make a fucking daily soundtrack out of them sometimes, man, and just get through my day because of it. But I don't think there's anything that really stood out from here, man. Have you got something different on this?
I mean, I think probably you would point out that Harold Faltermeyer did the score here. Like he did Beverly Hills Cop and Top Gun. And those are two pretty cool scores. He also did like a Fletch, Tango and Cash. And actually, one you might appreciate, Cop Up, the Kevin Smith flick with Bruce Wilson and Tracy Morgan. But he had a real feel, I think, for these kind of 80s synth scores. And you get that here, right? This is like, I think, almost top tier 80s synth score in the main single.
Score, yeah.
Yeah. And there was one single, it was a Restless Heart by John Parr. It basically only plays over the credits, but it did make a couple of bucks or whatever. So that's probably the one you would know. And there's classic stuff too. Like, Ride of the Valkyries we did.
Because I like a fucking movie that doesn't have a whole lot of fucking radio hits and singers in it, man. It just has like the movie music itself does its fucking job, and it does a good job at it. And this is one of those, man.
Yeah, and shout out the dude who plays Dynamo. His name was Erland Van Lith, and he was actually a real like opera singer. In what he does when he does the Dynamo thing, it's actually a an aria. They call it the Count's aria by Mozart. And I believe the pronunciation is Vedro Metrio Sorpriso. Shout out to him. He died young. That heart attack was like 34 or something. It was his last flick, I believe. And shout out the theme from Gilligan's Island, dude. Pretty classic theme song.
We know Arnold is obviously the man, but he's not, and he never will be the dude. There's only one dude, the Duderino, and that's the dude. This is 6 Degrees of Lebowski, where we connect our featured review to The Big Lebowski in 6 degrees or less. Mills?
Well, Jamie G, I was going to take the long way around the island with Maria Conchita Alonso via A Fine Mess, but I think there's probably an easier way to go. It might not be as pleasing to you, because this is actually pretty simple. In The Running Man, Jim Brown plays Fireball. He played Spivey, and he got game, where John Turturro played Coach Billy Sunday, and John Turturro is Jesus in The Big Lebowski. So there you go. 2 degrees. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, beezy.
Well done, sir. The final stalker that Richard and Amber's face is Fireball. They eventually defeat him while discovering the corpses of the runners who supposedly had won their freedom on previous episodes of The Running Man. But before we dive in, I just want to say rest in peace, Jim Brown. Guy was a legend on the football field, but also had a lot of success, acting and doing stuff off the field as well.
Goddamn good human being.
Yeah, I second that, man.
Fireball was cool. I like that they kind of saved him for laugh. There was a little bit of a big buildup, and then the kind of the final reveal with his, basically a fire starter, like
he had a jetpack. You gave Jim Brown a jetpack, and he had the cool pre-Polly Walnuts wingtips. The look of him was cool, and you got the idea right. Like he fit the 80s trope there, like almost to retirement. The way he's watching with his wife, you get the idea he doesn't want to be called, right? Like he's just trying to kind of ride it out. Like they talk about having a contract. That's what I got from him. Like he was kind of reluctantly going back into action. Obviously, just great charisma and look cool as shit. Probably my favorite looking of the stalkers. I love the line though when they find the bodies.
Last season's winners.
No. Last season's losers.
You got the idea that he was easily the most effective, right? I mean, he had a flamethrower and a jetpack. That beats the shit out of whatever Dynamo could do with this little bullshit. I mean, Buzzsaw, a motorcycle and a chainsaw. How much range is that? Sub-Zero was only effective on ice. Fireball, again, jetpack and flamethrower. That's a lot of range. How can you hide from that? Dude can fly and he has a flamethrower. That's the most effective stalker.
Yeah, that's a good point, dude. Yeah.
He has the one weakness, that's always the weakness, right? They do that in Lethal Weapon 4, I think, when the dude has the flamethrower and he's all, you got to pull the gas line. That's the only weakness.
Right. Did you like the fight scene? I mean, did you think it was pretty cool? I mean, was it believable, plausible that Richard could do that and win like that?
I mean,
he's Richards.
Yeah, he's Richards, and he gets obviously the when he pulls the gas line. It's kind of cool actually. You get Fireball breaking the fourth wall, go to commercial, and Richards like,
how about the light?
And then when he blows up, he's just,
what a hothead.
What a hothead, man. Classic Arnold line. Guys, before we get into the final act, let's do a little t-shirt time. It's time for us to all pitch our favorite Running Man t-shirt. Mills, pitch me a Running Man t-shirt that I want to wear out to the club or wherever I may go. Maybe I'll wear it into the courtroom. Well, you let me know.
I mean, Jamie G, really, if you want to stand out in the club, I think you should just wear Captain Freedom's outfit from his aerobic workout, not actually his shirt of it, but just actually the outfit. But if it was for me, I would want to go with something like he had to split, and then you see Buzzsaw's broken cod piece or whatever, his steel cod piece with the saw. I think that would be pretty cool. And if you understood the reference, you would instantly be my friend at the bar, and I would buy you a drink after you bought me two. Jamie G, you got a t-shirt?
I would like to see like Fireball trying to make one last ditch effort, but he launches the flame, but it's just Richards holding out his cigar and he's lighting it while Richards is I don't know, kissing Mendez or something. Like, I just think that would be a really cool scene where like Fireball's dying, he's on the ground, he's making one last attempt, and he's just inadvertently lighting Richard's cigar. I think that would
What
be
a
pretty
hothead.
awesome. What a
Going
hothead.
with the what a hothead. Look like that. You got one, Soup?
Yeah, man, I like the idea of maybe putting let's put Arnold in a fucking dressed up like a butcher, dude, in a bloody apron and shit with a fucking meat cleaver in one hand, cigar fucking hanging out, fucking
The Butcher of Bakersfield.
oh for sure, and then just under nowhere there's that image of him, and under it says Bakersfield. Boom, that's it. That's your shirt.
I like it, dude. I like that. That's hot. I mean, maybe pro Butcher, but I watched The Boys, so I could be down with that.
The Butcher. Well, that brings us to the final act, guys. Richards and Amber find the resistance base and give them the uplink code. They join the rebels in a raid on ICS where they air the unedited Bakersfield footage, and Richards keeps his promise to Killian. Thoughts on the final act of The Running Man? I mean, he was back. He came back, right? I mean, I'll be back.
That's what he has to do, really. I do think it's a bit interesting, that there is no final fight, that Killian kind of bagging on his body, man. The whole movie pays off when he's like, yeah, the world's breaking down. Whatever money you're paying me isn't worth it anymore. You're on your own in this one. Shout out Amber. Her best line of the flick definitely is when she tells Dynamo,
Why aren't you laughing?
Because there's nothing funny about a dickless moron with a battery up his ass.
and that holds true even today.
That does hold true. Very true. Very true.
I mean, what do you think? Did Ben give the audience what they wanted when he shoots Killian out through the Cadre Cola joint? They're not very subtle with the metaphors, but it definitely works there.
It does, and I think they did a good job of kind of showing the audience gently and kind of throughout the course of the movie starting to turn against Killian. And I think that was kind of a cool thing. At the end, they were actually cheering for Richards and against Killian. So
they all had money on him at that point, right?
Right, but it was just cool to see that transition though, because they start the movie like Killian's like the god, right? And it was neat to see that transition throughout the movie.
Yeah, and shout out to Sven, who I believe was actually Arnold Schwarzenegger's like longtime stand-in or whatever. In his final line, like when Killian's like, "Well, you can jump in." He's like,
Well, I got to score some steroids.
Just a nice callback. And shout out this movie for actually kind of predicting the face replacement technology, right? The way they digitally map it on or whatever, that's quite common now. And the only other thing I guess I'd mention is that Dolph Lundgren and Christopher Reeve and Patrick Swayze and Don Johnson were all kind of in the lead for Ben Richards. Is there any way this movie's any better with any of them?
No. Someone else could have did it and it would have been really cool, but you wouldn't have had those one-liners. You wouldn't have had that Arnold humor that I think it just works so well. Now, I'm a huge advocate of having this movie rebooted and made again. And so obviously I don't think it would be Arnold. I think it would be somebody else, but I don't think they would have made it any better, man. I don't think they could have topped it. Could it have still been good? Yes, but it needed Arnold, in my humble opinion. Jamie G. Esquire.
And I think you're totally right on that, dude, because that's what we know it as, man. Now, if it had never been Arnold and it was, fucking Don Johnson or fucking Mickey Rourke or whatever the fuck, then it would be, that's what we would know it as, So it would throw that aspect. Hey, man, what if Lethal Weapon was fucking Arnold? You never fucking know. So it's one of those, man. But yeah, it could have been, but no, from what I know it, dude, it might have been cool with somebody else, but I know it with Arnold, and there's no way you can replicate Arnold shit when you're doing an Arnold movie. So it's got the Arnold shit in it. It's an Arnold fucking movie, man.
Yeah, Arnold makes the movie. Like that's, I think, kind of the deal. I suppose there's a certain amount of interest, like Christopher Reeve, if he'd done it like originally in like Total Recall, like Quaid was supposed to be like a mild-mannered accountant because it wasn't written for Arnold, then they changed it. Kind of a similar thing here. Maybe I'd have a touch of interest in Patrick Swayze. He definitely had that charisma or whatever, but yeah, I mean, I think that's fine, really. It was supposed to be more of a kind of like a dark movie where a dude went on the Running Man to like feed his family, and then it became this when Arnold came in. But I think it worked overall, and it probably did provide better commentary on both like reality television and a little bit of the justice system and the way money plays into it and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. This movie wasn't written to be an Arnold movie. It was a Bachman book, man. So the fact that Arnold gave it that other element too, and I think it was a perfect fucking mix, man. I don't know that you could take any other fucking, you're not gonna put Arnold in fucking, Needful Things. I wouldn't think, but this movie fucking works, man. So.
Jamie G, you kind of mentioned it before that you might have some interest in seeing like a reboot or something like that. Any movement on that front?
Well, actually, there is. In early 2021, Paramount Pictures announced that they'll be making a new The Running Man movie. Now, this is supposed to be a more faithful adaptation of the novel. Edgar Wright is lined up to direct and advise on the screenplay, which will be done by Michael Bacall. Any interest in seeing a different version of The Running Man?
I think maybe like a non-Arnold version, that's maybe more of a, leans into the social commentary and not as maybe action oriented, maybe a little bit more of a thriller or something like that. I think there's ways you could go with it. Like Soup said before, this was, originally a Richard Bachman story, wasn't intended to be an Arnold story. So I suppose at least there's some interest I might have in seeing a non-Arnold version of it. Because I don't think Arnold makes this movie. He makes this version of the movie, but I don't think the story needs Arnold to be the story I might be interested in seeing.
So we pulled this movie, we pulled this movie out of the early 80s or whatever the fuck, man, and put it into now. Who do we put in this movie? What kind of movie do we want to see now? Like, I would want to see an exact replica of the novel at this point. I think that could be done. I don't think we need to turn it into an Arnold movie, although doing that back in the fucking 80s was brilliant. But do I want to see another Arnold movie, Running Man? No, man. I want to see a fucking adaptation of the fucking original Running Man. That's what I'm looking for, man.
I think there's a lot of good options out there this day and age. Give me Anthony Corrigan, who played NoHo Hank and Barry. I think he'd be a fun one if we were going on more everyman. Give me Jeremy Strong if we're doing Succession, like just throwing HBO dudes into this thing. I think there's a lot of good everymen. And how about not give me Glenn Howerton or Charlie Day? Either of those two, I think, would be really interesting kind of casting against type.
Glenn Howerton would be a lot of fun.
I'd like it to be a little bit more scary, like it should be almost, because when you're in overall, not so much. When you're in the middle of this shit, dude, you're in a manhunt situation, man. This should be pretty fucking high intensity and scary, So I'd like to see more of that in the mix of the movie, maybe not so much as a whole, but in the mix of the movie when it needs it.
I like that. I think that's fair.
So you think you're sponge-worthy?
Yes, I think I'm sponge-worthy. I think I'm very sponge-worthy.
You're nuts with these sponges.
Run down your case for me again.
She said I wasn't sponge-worthy. Wouldn't waste a sponge on me.
Well, I want to point out that there's been some recent disruption in the supply of sponges. So we can't just give these things out to any freak off the street, if you know what I mean. Soup, is the Running Man sponge-worthy for you?
With 3 sponges to spare.
I know, man. This is where it's really tough for me because I only got 3 sponges right now. But it's the Running Man, dude. Is it sponge worthy? Would I fuck the Running Man with the sponge? I mean, damn it. Yes, on a normal day, but since I only have the 3, yes, I'm still giving it a sponge. Still giving the Running Man a sponge. It is that good a one, man. I'm down for it. Sponge worthy. Wasting a sponge. Down to 2. I'm sponging the fuck out of Running Man, dude.
That leaves your boy Jamie G. Esquire the 5th. I have 6 sponges, and while that's not exactly a plethora of sponges, it is a few more than Soup did. I have to give this sponge-worthy. I really enjoyed it. I am going to be more particular about who I choose to give my sponge to going forward, but Running Man was just that much fun for me rewatching this thing. I've got to get it. Second favorite Arnold movie of all time. So I got to give it to Running Man. Yes, it's sponge-worthy. All right, Mills. It's up to you here, buddy. You sparing one of your sponge for the pick here? You got 5 sponges. Can you give one to your boy Arnold in Running Man?
Fucking A right, I can.
That is an affirmative yes. Now that we've settled the sponge worthiness, it's time to give a grade to The Running Man. We're grading this on a scale of 1 to 10 stalkers. Mills, just how high are you on Running Man?
I'm how high, dude? I mean, how high? I mean, how so high I could kiss the sky. Give me some crazy 88s, baby. 8.8 stalkers. Jamie G.
I love it, man. I'm right there with you. I'm going to give it a solid 9.0. To me, it's a great movie for what it is. It's worthy of cracking that 9. Not nine stalkers for me. Soup Deuce.
Fuck, dude, it's right there too, man. I'm giving it. I'm gonna have to go, and I mean, I like the crazy 88s. I'm sticking with it. 8.8 stalkers, man. Love it.
We're trying to get to a movie.
You better get going. You don't want to miss 1 second of that movie.
Is it that good?
It's the best goddamn movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh.
Dude hangs dumb.
I told you!
I don't want to miss that.
It's time to decide what we're going to talk about next time on Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. We've made a slight change in the way we do things here. So people like the wheel. Apparently, that's been a big thing. You guys love the wheel. So we're going to incorporate that on a regular basis going forward. We're going to spin the wheel to narrow our options down to a certain category. Then we all pitch something that fits into that category, and we'll vote for the winner. You cannot vote for your own pitch, and if we have to have the 3-way tie, yes, we will spin yet another wheel, which may or may not be in the sky. After we spin the wheel, Mills, you're up first here, then myself, followed by the Soup Deuce as our anchorman. Go ahead, baby. Spin that wheel.
Suspense, damn it.
So we have to pitch anything Bruce Willis was in, movie or episode of television. That's it. It's the Jamie G wild card. We're doing a Bruce Willis thing.
Wow, it's a big library, dude.
I'm very happy with this one because it is an extensive library. Jamie, you excited to pitch something for Bruce Willis?
I am so pumped that Bruce Willis won. This is, I mean, you really can go anywhere with this. He's got so many good ones. My only concern is it could be paralysis by analysis. Mills, you're up first.
Jamie G, you made it a Bruce Willis fest, and I want to have fun with one. So give me 12 Monkeys, directed by Terry Gilliam, co-starring Brad Pitt, Madeline Stowe. This is a fantastic movie. It's well written. It's one of my favorite Bruce Willis performances. It's a very cool flick to talk about. It's a bit open-ended. It is awesome. I'm pitching not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, but 12 Monkeys. Jamie G.
Man, that's really good, dude. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm in between a rock and a hard place here, but I'm going to listen to my heart. And I'm going with The Last Boy Scout. I mean, how could I not? We got Bruce Willis, we got Damon Wayans, we got a football themed movie. This thing is awesome. Bruce Willis at his best, hilarious, grimy, a low life, but yet makes it cool at the same time. This is just great one-liners. I think it'll be fun to talk about. It'll get us fired up about football season, which is right around the corner. I'm going Last Boy Scout.
All right, Soup, how big are you going to bring out the guns in Navarone, or what are you doing here?
I don't know. I'm gonna bust out the guns and have around, but I am gonna say, man, I'm gonna steer clear of the is Bruce Willis and I'm drunk and hungover, fucking doing an action flick movie, which he's great at those, man. And I love like the Last Boy Scout and the Die Hards and everything where he's that guy and all that, man. But I'm going a little bit different. I'm gonna steer clear of a Bruce Willis lead here because there's just too much to choose from, man. I'm just gonna go with a movie that he's been in. And it's a movie I've been wanting to talk about for a long time anyway. So I'm fucking launching 4 Rooms, dude. So yeah, 4 Rooms it is, man. He is in the 4th room. And this is a movie that's kind of odd because he didn't even take credit for being in it. He just kind of did it as a favor to his buddy Quentin Tarantino there, man. So a good movie overall. Not a Bruce Willis fucking flick, but he is in the flick. And it is involving Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, a lot of other awesome supporting cast. Great fucking movie. We'll have a lot of fun talking about it. A lot of layers to this one, man. I love the layers. So 4 Rooms is my pitch.
Some would say there's 4 layers. Mills, please recap the nominees and tell us what order we'll be voting in.
All right, the Soup pitched 4 Rooms, which we've not explicitly talked about, but we did mention on, I believe, the Joe Blow Football Show New Year's Eve episode last season. Check that out on the YouTube channel. Jamie G pitched The Last Boy Scout, also co-starring Damon Wayans, solid Shane Black 1990s action flick, and I pitched the Terry Gilliam directed time-traveling mindfuck 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt. And we vote in the reverse of the order in which we nominated. So the Soup Deucer will vote first, followed by Jamie G, and then finally myself. And I could potentially be the decider.
This is a fucking tough one, man, because it was hard for me to pick a movie to pitch out of the Bruce Willis category here, man. I'm gonna go with 12 Monkeys, man. It's a deeper one. I think it's gonna be more fucking complex for us to talk about. I think Last Boy Scout kind of fits our scheme a little better, but I'm gonna go off the grid here and go and vote for the fucking 12 Monkeys, man.
Magna Mills, I'm up next. You thought you were going to be the decider, but you're not. I am, because I'm also going to vote for 12 Monkeys. I remember watching this one a long time ago when it first came out, and I fell asleep. I didn't really give it a solid watch, so this will almost be new for me. I don't really remember it, so I'm kind of excited about it. So I'm going 12 Monkeys as well.
I am super excited about this. This is awesome. And I'm just going to say, for the record, Soup, when you were pitching in my head, I didn't think 4 Rooms. I'd like that. But what I said in my head was, if he pitches The Fifth Element, I'll vote for it. You did not pitch The Fifth Element. So I'm going to go with The Last Boy Scout. I definitely like 4 Rooms. Would love to talk about it at some point. But I think because there's so many people in that, it could be it could be in play in a bunch of different ways. So I want to keep that in the field. So I would have gone Last Boy Scout either way, unless you pitched The Fifth Element, which we should come back around to. The Fifth Element is also
I was really close.
I would love to do Fifth Element.
It's on the list.
Would love to do it. Well, that's it, man. Thanks for watching and listening. Please let us know if you've got something that you want us to check out. We'll check it out right here on Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. We can all be regular dudes watching stuff together. Please remember the flaps. If you do anything, you must follow, you must like, and please subscribe. It's a killer acronym. We're going to say it all the time just because it is that awesome. And we appreciate you guys checking out Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Magna Mills, anything else for the crew?
You want to do the stuff, remember to find us wherever you get your pods and on YouTube. Just search for Regular Dudes Watch Stuff, or even Dudes Watch Stuff, because we're on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff. And please remember to watch where you walk. Remember to replace the trash bag after you throw the trash out. And remember the flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. That's how people find our show. That's how they find our channel. We greatly appreciate it. It's all we ask. Please and thank you. If you had fun, give us that thumb. I am Magna Mills. That's Jamie G. That's Soup Deucer. We did the goddamn thing, and we're going to be back next time to cover one of my favorites, 12 Monkeys. If you haven't seen this one, it's great. You're going to love it. Make sure you come back.
See you next week.
Peace, God.
Yeah.
We did it.
Well, that hit the spot.